You ring the bell. What day is it? Day 37. We're getting close. Good morning. All members, please come to the floor and take your seats. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Gonna be needing them in a few days. All members voted in. All members. The doorkeepers, will you please close the doors? I think all members have voted now. Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? Again, doorkeepers, will you close the doors and keep them closed? As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by our chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 111th House District, Representative Ray Martinez. Representative Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to introduce to you Pastor Jonas J. Chambliss Sr. from Living Word Baptist Church here in Loganville. He is married to Victoria Yvette Chambliss, and they have 4 daughters: Yvette, Chardee Ariel, Janae, and son Jonas Jamar Chambliss. In the presence also, he's got his sister, Thais. Pastor Jonas grew up in New Orleans, and in 2005, because of Hurricane Katrina, he moved to Gwinnett County. At the age of 10, he accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as his personal Savior and was baptized in July 31st of 1991. In 2007, God revealed to him the calling into ministry to preach and to teach the gospel. In 2007, Pastor Jonas was ordained as a minister. For over 13 years, Pastor Jonas has served with his heart of God in our community, in the Loganville community. God continues to bless Living Word Baptist Church as he shares the role of pastoring with Pastor Jeffrey Threat. He also serves in many roles in Loganville with Loganville United, NG3, and many other ministries in the community. Colleagues, I now introduce you Pastor Jonas Chambliss Jr. Thank you.
Thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for all who are here on today. Thank you for my family. God is so good. I thank him for this opportunity to minister here. I stand before you representing the Living Word Baptist Church. And first and foremost, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and thanking God for this opportunity to lift him up, give him the praise, the honor, and the glory. Will you all please stand Before we pray, I just want to briefly share with you John 12:32. It says, "And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me." The Lord Jesus Christ, he represents liberty, he represents justice, he represents us making the call to stand for what is right. And there are people who serve here today. You have been called to stand for what is right. God has appointed you and anointed you with such a time as this to make decisions that not only affect today, but tomorrow. So let me pray with you. Every head bow, every eye closed. Lord, we love you. We say thank you for your many blessings. Thank you for this opportune time, Lord, to lift your name up, Lord. We thank you for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, the one who died for us. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to again bless your holy name, for there is none like you. You are the creator of all the heavens and the earth. Again, we say thank you for those who serve here. Lord, thank you for Speaker John, Lord, and all who are here serving, Lord, every administrator, Lord, every representative. Lord, we just pray right now that you bless us to do the things you have called us to do. For Lord, we are believing for greater change. We're believing for your will to be done. We say thank you in advance for what is going to take place. Those, Lord, who may be sick and hurting here today, Lord, those who may have suffered in some capacity, Lord, we just pray right now you heal their bodies, Lord. Bless our brother Terry, Lord, in the name of Jesus, Lord. We just pray for him that you heal his body. Thank you for allowing him to be here on yesterday. Lord, again, be with all who are serving and representing every county, every town, Lord, every person, Lord. Again, that we give you all the praise, honor, and the glory. We love you, Lord, and we say thank you. This is the day you've made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And everybody who loved the Lord shouted amen and amen. If you love the Lord, clap your hands. Bless his name. Now, would you follow me as I do my best to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good stuff. That was good. The doorkeepers, you may open the doors. Brother Jonas, thank you for that message, and thank you for your encouragement, and good luck in your ministry as you continue to serve the people in Loganville and parts around Loganville. Thank you for your service.
Thank y'all so much.
Members, you may join Brother Jonas in that South Ante room. Express your gratitude for him being here and take some photos. And thanks for his family for accompanying him today as well. Sisters, wife, and daughters, thank y'all. Members, our doctor of the day today is Dr. Sanford Duke, brought to us by Representative Anissa Jones of the 143rd. Dr. Duke is down in the aid station, so if you need have a conversation, I'm sure Dr. Duke will be glad to see you down there. So we appreciate Dr. Duke taking time to be with us today. Chairman Hilton, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits, we wiped all the pollen off the journal and we read it. And it was found to be correct after we met this morning and passed our rules. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I hope that meeting was smooth. Was it too? Well, good to hear. You have your rules in place now. You're ready to go to work, but you waited till the end to go to work. But Chairman Hilton, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Hearing none, the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Hearing none, the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Mr. Clerk.
Representative Administration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business in the first part of period unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, reports of standing committees, third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions, morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 867 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Glaze of the 67th, Bernal of the 77th, Mitchell of the 88th, Schofield of the 63rd, and others. A bill being titled Act to amend Part 3 of Article 7 of Chapter 3, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Georgia Student Finance Authority.
Higher education.
House Bill 868 by Representative Lumpson of the 12th, Scoggins of the 14th, Kelly of the 16th, Gunner of the 8th, Taylor of the 173rd. The bill be titled Act to amend Part 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 18 to Title 45 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to State Employees Health Insurance Plan.
Insurance.
House Bill 871 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, Williamson of the 112th, New of the 40th, Clark of the 100th, Stevens of the 164th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Code Section 3683-4 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to authorized investments.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 872 by Representative Cooper of the 45th, Silcox of the 53rd, Camp of the 135th, Ballard of the 147th, Jones of the 47th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding health.
Public and community health.
House Bill 873 by Representative Townsend of the 179th. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 3 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to retirement allowances.
Retirement.
House Resolution 752 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Glaze of the 67th, Bernal of the 77th, Mitchell of the 88th, Schofield of the 63rd, and others. A resolution creating a joint study committee on cosmetology and barbering education.
Regulated industries.
House Resolution 753 by Representative Donna Tucci of the 105th, Hagan of the 156th, Camp of the 135th, and Clifton of the 131st. A resolution creating a House study committee on improving access to internal medicine in rural areas.
Rural development.
House Resolution 754 by Representative Beckles of the 96th, Williams of the 168th, Mitchell of the 88th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on street lighting along state routes.
Transportation.
House Resolution 755 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, Kelly the 16th, Cannon of the 172nd, Prince of the 132nd, and others. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on electric franchise fees for unincorporated areas.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Resolution 756 by Representative Lim of the 98th, Carpenter of the 4th, Santos of the 117th, Tran of the 80th, Clark of the 108th, and others. A resolution encouraging the General Assembly to preserve access to safety and justice.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Resolution 757 by Representative Clark of the 108th, Evans the 57th, Lim of the 98th, Barnes the 86th. A resolution creating House Study Committee on Civil Rights Protections.
Special Rules.
Senate Bill 340 by Senator Watson the first. A bill to be taught an act amended act to provide a new charter for the city of Tybee Island.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 344 by Senator Kenny the 18th. A bill to be taught an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the probate court of Crawford County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 345 by Senator Kenny the 18th. A bill to be taught an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the magistrate court of Crawford County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 347 by Senator Hodges III and Still of the 48th. Bill to be taught an act to amend an act implementing the Brunswick and Glynn County Development Authority.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 348 by Senator Lucas the 26th. Bill to be taught an act to amend an act creating the Board of County Commissioners of Hancock County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 349 by Senator Lucas the 26th. The bill to be taught an act to authorize the governing authority of Hancock County to levy an excise tax.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 350 by Senator Jackson the 41st, Mangum of the 55th, Parent of the 44th, Jones the 10th, Anderson the 43rd. Bill to be taught an act to amend an act providing for the compensation of certain county officers and officials of DeKalb County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 351 by Senator Walker the 20th. The bill be taught an act to amend an act to establish the State Court of Troutland County. Troutland in and for the County of Troutland.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 355 by Senator Anna Duarte the 31st and Bearden the 30th. Bill be taught an act to provide a homestead exemption from Paulding County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 823 by Representative Wade of the 9th and Chastain of the 7th. The bill to amend an act to provide a homestead exemption from Dawson County ad valorem taxes for county purposes. House Bill 824 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Chastain of the 7th. The bill to close for new applications certain homestead exemptions for senior citizens from Dawson County ad valorem taxes for county purposes or educational purposes. House Bill 825 by Representative Washburn of the 144th, Herring of the 145th. A bill to amend an act to reconstitute the Board of Education of Monroe County. House Bill 826 by Representative Miller of the 62nd, Park of the 107th, Smith of the 18th, Fry of the 122nd, Werkheiser of the 157th. A bill relating to imposition rate computation, exemptions, and credits for state income tax. House Bill 827 by Representative McQueen of the 61st, Roberts of the 52nd, Miller of the 62nd, Evans of the 57th, Willis of the 55th, and others. A bill relating to selling and other trade practices. House Bill 828 by Representative Park of the 107th, Hughley of the 141st, Miller of the 62nd, Fry of the 122nd, Williams of the 168th, and others. A bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 829 by Representative Beckles of the 96th, Hughley of the 141st, Fry of the 122nd, Williams of the 168th, Lornoy of the 74th, and others. A bill relating to elementary and secondary education. House Bill 830 by Representative Beckles of the 96th, Lornoy of the 74th, Fry of the 122nd, Williams of the 168th, Dawson of the 65th, and others. A bill relating to insurance. House Bill 831 by Representative Beckles of the 96th, Hughley of the 141st, Fry of the 122nd, Williams of the 168th, Lorney of the 74th, and others. A bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 863 by Representative Reese of the 140th, Mathiak of the 82nd, Smith of the 41st, Ridley of the 6th, and Barry of the 56th. A bill relating to state purchasing. House Bill 864 by Representative Sanchez of the 42nd, Taylor of the 92nd, Fry of the 122nd, Holly of the 116th, Cummings of the 39th, and others. A bill relating to acquisition and loss of property. House Bill 865 by Representative Crawford of the 89th, Draper of the 90th, Willis of the 55th, Oliver of the 84th, Elallier of the 59th. A bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 866 by Representative Barton of the 5th, Taylor of the 173rd, Hawkins Calkins of the 27th, Cooper of the 45th, Newton of the 127th. A bill relating to the Department of Community Health. House Bill 869 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and Scoggins of the 14th. The bill to amend an act creating establishing a joint airport authority for the city of Cartersville and Bartow County. House Bill 870 by Representative Neal of the 79th, Bell of the 75th, Scott of the 76th, Douglas of the 78th, Lorney of the 74th, and others. A bill to provide a homestead exemption from Clayton County ad valorem taxes for county purposes. House Resolution 712 by Representative Park of the 107th, Hughley of the 141st, Miller of the 62nd, Fry of the 122nd, Williams of the 168th, and others. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on Protecting Working Families. House Resolution 713 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Silcox of the 53rd, Clifton of the 131st, Willis of the 55th, Chastain of the 7th, and others. A resolution urging healthcare providers across the state of Georgia to help promote the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. House Resolution 751 by Representative Crowe of the 118th, Washburn of the 144th, Herring of the 145th, the resolution recognizing Mr. William A. Fickling Jr. and dedicating a bridge in his honor. House Resolution 809 by Representative Donna Chucci of the 105th, the resolution honoring the life of Officer Scott Osborne Reiner and dedicating an intersection in his memory. House Resolution 810 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd, a resolution recognizing Mr. Benjamin R. Polote Sr. and dedicating an intersection in his honor. House Resolution 811 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd, a resolution recognizing the life of Reverend Dr. Benny R. Mitchell Jr. and dedicating a bridge in his memory. House Resolution 812 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd, a resolution recognizing the life of Coach Carl Middleton and dedicating a bridge in his memory. House Resolution 813 by Representative Abstraction of the 104th, Donna Chucci of the 105th, Burns of the 159th, Hitchens of the 161st, Crow of the 118th, a resolution honoring the life of Trooper Jimmy Siniskar and dedicating a bridge in his memory. House Resolution 814 by Representative Crow of the 118th, Washburn of the 144th, a resolution recognizing the Honorable Susan Holmes and dedicating a road in her honor. House Resolution 815 by Representative Jones of the 25th, Kendrick of the 95th, Holcomb of the 101st, Cox of the 28th, Corbett of the 174th, and others. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on exploring the potential for humanoids and robotics in Georgia workforce development. House Resolution 816 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Petrie of the 166th, Werkheiser of the 157th, Dempsey of the 13th, Cooper of the 45th, and others. A resolution creating a House Study Committee for At-Risk Populations Abuse Registry. House Resolution 817 by Representative Clark of the 100th, Bonner of the 73rd, Jones of the 25th, Crow of the 118th, Lumpton of the 12th, and others. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Governmental Use of Drones and Unmanned Aircraft from Foreign Adversaries. Senate Bill 332 by Senator Jones of the 10th and James of the 28th. A bill to amend an act to create and establish in DeKalb County, Georgia district from which the members of the County Board of Education of DeKalb County shall be elected. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. Mr. Clerk, will you read?
Representative Beth Campbell, the 135th District Chairman of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under its consideration following bills of the House and the Senate and has instructed me to report same back to the House with following recommendations. House Bill 709 do pass. House Bill 779. House Bill 799 do pass. House Bill 801 do pass. House Bill 802 do pass. Senate Bill 206 do pass. Senate Bill 331 do pass by substitute. House Bill 803 do pass. House Bill 805 do pass. 806 do pass. House Bill 807 do pass. Respectfully submitted. Representative Beth Campbell, 135th District Chairman. Representative Tyler Paul Smith of the 18th District Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil has had under its consideration following bills of the Senate has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 132 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 244 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted. Representative Tyler Paul Smith of the 18th District Chairman. Representative Alan Powell, 33rd District Chairman of the Committee on Regulated Industries, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Regulated Industries has had under its consideration following bills of the Senate. So instructed me to report same back to the House with following recommendation. Senate Bill 254 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Alan Powell, 33rd District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Okay, members, we do have a local calendar this morning. We have a local calendar, so I'll ask you to come to your desk. 4 bills on the local calendar relate to homestead exemption and require, as you know, a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. This will be our 3rd reading and passage of the uncontested local calendar. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. Mr. Clerk, will you read the local calendar?
House Bill 709 by Representative Anderson in the 10th City of Demarest. House Bill 799 by Representative Deloach in the 167th Long County. House Bill 801 by Representative Deloach in the 167th Long County. House Bill 802 by Representative Kelly in the 16th City of Cedartown. Senate Bill 206 by Senator Summers in the 13th City of Ashburn, City of Douglas, City of Fitzgerald, City of Ocilla, City of Tifton. Senate Bill 331 by substitute by Senator Dixon in the 45th City of Winder, Barrow County. House Bill 803 by Representative Hatchett of the 155th City of Dublin. House Bill 805 by Representative Hatchett of the 155th City of Dublin. House Bill 806 by Representative Rhodes of the 127th Oglethorpe County. House Bill 807 by Representative Thomas of the 21st City of Woodstock.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted on the local calendar? All members voted this so. Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the passage of the bills on the local calendar, the yeas are 160, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. Members, if you will please come to the floor, take your seats, and cease conversations. We're going to move forward with an invite resolution, a pretty special invite resolution, who's going to honor someone who has done a great job in the position that she holds for our friends in Israel, but I can tell you on a personal basis, she's gone above and beyond as we dealt with many issues here, but especially with Hurricane Helene, and ensuring that Georgians all over this state were supported. But I'll let somebody else tell that whole story. But I want to say now, thank you, Consul General, for that support. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Resolution 417?
House Resolution 417 by Representatives Panich of the 51st, Cox of the 28th, Tran of the 80th, Carson of the 46th, Cummings of the 39th, and others. A resolution honoring and commending Einat Sultan Dadan, Consul General of Israel to the southeastern United States for exemplary service in strengthening the bonds between the State of Israel and the State of Georgia, and for her steadfast friendship to the people of Georgia.
Thanks to Representative Panich and Representative Cox for bringing this resolution. I want to recognize Representative Panich to speak to the resolution. Representative Panich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, on behalf of Representative Cox and the Georgia-Israel Caucus, we gather with hearts both hopeful and selfishly heavy. Anat, your journey among us has been more than a chapter in our community story. It's been a beacon of light, illuminating our shared traditions, values, and connections. From the moment you arrived, you brought us not just your leadership, but your entire self. You've been a bridge between our local community and the broader Jewish world, particularly our beloved Israel. Your unwavering dedication to strengthening communal bonds have left an indelible mark on all of us. As you prepare to return to Israel, know that you carry with you not just memories, but the deep respect and love of the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community. While geographical distance may separate us, the bonds of mishpacha, family, transcend any miles between us. Lehitraot chavara shalanu, until we meet again, my friend, our friend. May your path be blessed, may your new chapter be filled with joy, and may you continue to be a source of inspiration wherever you go, from strength to strength. Shalom and safe travels.
And thank you. Thank you. Speaker Burns, members of the Georgia House of Representatives, shalom and good morning. It is an incredible honor to stand before you today in this chamber, a place where Israel, the Jewish people, and I personally have been blessed with so many friends. 6 years ago, when I received my appointment to this role, I learned that Georgia is known as the Peach State. An interesting fact, but not what first comes to mind when I think of Georgia today. Having lived here over these years, I've learned that Georgia is, in so many ways, America at its best. The growing number of people who choose to make Georgia their home have apparently come to the same conclusion. And as for being an Israeli in Georgia, I cannot count the number of times when I've been asked where I'm from, and upon saying Israel, I've been met with a huge smile and a warm embrace. That warm welcome that I received in Georgia is true for this House as well. Speaker John Burns, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, for your friendship, and for your support. And I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the late Speaker, David Ralston of blessed memory, a true friend of Israel whose support and friendship will not be forgotten. Representatives Esther Panich and Brent Cox, my dear friends and co-chairs of the Georgia-Israel Legislative Caucus, thank you for your friendship, for your commitment and dedication to ensuring that the bond between Georgia and Israel remains strong, vibrant, and bipartisan. The bilateral relations between Georgia and Israel span across many areas: trade, academia, technology and innovation, culture, and more. These ties continue to strengthen and grow because they are built on a partnership that benefits both our peoples, grounded in our shared values of democracy, freedom, and humanity. Over the years, this House has passed numerous resolutions in support of Israel and our bilateral relations, as well as bills aimed at addressing and combating anti-Semitism and discrimination against Israel. To all the sponsors and supporters of these measures, especially those passed in the wake of October 7th, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude. These expressions of solidarity and moral clarity have been a source of strength and a reminder that we are not alone. This chamber has also extended its southern hospitality to many Israeli guests and speakers, including hosting hostage family members and survivors of October 7th, as was just done yesterday. Thank you for opening your hearts and minds to their accounts. There are still 59 hostages languishing in Gaza, and we cannot rest until every single hostage is home and reunited with their loved ones. Thank you. Thank you. Alongside the hardship, there is also room for hope, for better days ahead for Israel and for all of us, because we share not only pain and concern, we also share a spirit of resilience and a commitment not just to hope for better days, but to work together to make them a reality. As I prepare to conclude my tenure in this role, I do so with immense pride in all that we have accomplished together, and with deep appreciation for the friendships that I will carry with me always. To the many friends that I will leave here in Georgia, I look forward to seeing you in Israel. Thank you for the honor of working with you. May God bless you. May God bless the great state of Georgia. May God bless the state of Israel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You will be missed.
I will miss you all dearly. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Consul General, you have... Pause just for a minute. Esther. You have enriched our lives and our relationship in the union that exists between the United States of America, the state of Georgia, and Israel. Most importantly, the people of the aforementioned, if you will. We respect you. We will miss you. You become a part of our family. Thanks to the members of this body for supporting you and supporting Israel. Does it go unnoticed? It's not about the three of us that are part of this body here, but it's about all of these members. It's about you, the values you bring, and your unrelenting support for Georgia and the values you stand for, what Israel stands for, and what we stand for as Georgians. Thank you. Safe travels to you. May God continue to bless you. And we just want to welcome you back to Georgia anytime. So we're going to miss you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The Consul General will be with us for a few more moments. She's going to be in the South Anteroom if you would like to join her for a conversation and a photo. That would be the proper place and the proper time. So thank you, Consul General. Thanks for the resolution members, and thank you, members, for your attention. We have some morning orders now, members. We have about a third of what we had yesterday. We only have 50 or 60. We don't have 201. So it's not quite that many, but we have some great folks that are here with us that we need to recognize in the gallery, and we're going to get started with that. I'm going to ask you to probably take a minute to 2 minutes maximum, if you will, members, to share your thoughts and encouragement of those here with us today. We'll begin with Representative David Huddleston. and some friends who are going to be here to recognize some folks from West Georgia. So if you're a fan of the West Georgia cheer team, I would hope you would join Representative David Huddleston. The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, just thank y'all for allowing us to be here today. Today, we want to congratulate and recognize the University of West Georgia cheerleading program for its continued reputation of excellence and global recognition as a dynasty with 35 total national championships for all girl and co-ed squads from 2001 to 2025. The University of West Georgia all-girls and co-ed teams recently competed against top-ranked teams across the nation at the University Cheerleaders Association National College Championship in Orlando, Florida. With a small co-ed squad, the large co-ed squad, the all-girls squad, and the all-girl group stunt squad bringing home the Division I national championships. Both the all-girl and co-ed squads exemplify extraordinary talents in their roles as student athletes through excellence and in academics and contributions to the university and the community on and off the stage. Many of them are present here today. This is to the cheerleaders themselves. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of this body commend the University of West Georgia cheerleading program on its legacy and excellence and to extend the sincerest best wishes for continued success. Y'all please stand where we can recognize you. Go Wolves! But do the work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Congratulations, ladies. That's quite the, boy, what a record. Y'all are good. Thanks for being here with us, and thanks for your hard work. I know that is a very, very, very difficult tradition to uphold. Thank you for what you're doing, and continued success to you. Thanks for taking time to come over and be with us. We're proud of you, too. Congratulations. Representative Panich is recognized for a morning order.
Good morning again. I'd like to recognize and commend by this resolution the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival for 25 years of artistic and cultural excellence and other purposes. If you all would stand so you could be recognized. From the Jewish Film Festival, we have Kenny Blank, Amy Arno, Liberty Lafferty, Mark Putnam, Justin Gottlieb, Sarah Davenport, Brennan Dicker, and Kaylin Barenhout. And from the American Jewish Committee, Sam Halpern, Jacob Rogo, and Alex Harrell. Please welcome them to the People's House as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. Please meet me down in the Speaker's office.
Thank you all for being here. Okay, Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. Congratulations. Hope everything goes smoothly. Representative McDonald, would you lead a group of folks here from West Forsyth? Let's see, we're going to have Representative Cox, Representative Todd Jones, Representative David Clark, and Representative Rick Jaspers. Join the gentleman in the well. Gentleman Lauren McDonald is recognized to speak to the group this year and give us some great information.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I know he said we're going to have a short calendar day and didn't have many morning orders, but as you can see, we're going to be here a while, so if anybody needs to get coffee, feel free to do so during this morning order. We have 8 high schools in Forsyth County. So we all brought them down together. These are our state champions in the 2024 early season this year. And so as I call out your names, please stand up in the gallery. I've got the West Forsyth High boys 4x100 freestyle champs, Colton Carter, Nathan Fedke, Kate Anderson, and Ty McQuinn. From Lambert High School, I've got the state champion individual cross country, Jackson Hogshead from Lambert High. Lambert's kind of special to me since my daughter Haley goes there, so I want to say hook 'em horns. So thirdly, I've got Adler Spingler from her state championship in girls 100-meter fly. Will you please stand? And then I've got Ty Haibu for his 2024 heavyweight boys wrestling state championship.
Yeah.
All I can say, guys and ladies, enjoy your spring break. Once you get out of here, you deserved it, and you get a week off. And back, let's finish up this year. After Representative Cox makes his presentation, if we'll come down to the third floor outside the Speaker's office for some photos. Representative Cox.
So I would like for all of the athletic directors and coaches and anyone, teachers, if you would stand as well from Forsyth, that'd be great. Thank y'all for your service. Y'all remain standing. All of the athletes that came down, all of y'all please stand as well at this time. I'd like for everybody to show. Thank you. If y'all would remain standing, so I'm going to try to rifle through these. Okay, so these are team state champions, 24-25 East Forsyth Esports, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate State Champions, 2024 Forsyth Central Hot Rodders of Tomorrow National Champions. We placed 1st, 4th, 5th, and 18th, I believe, if I'm correct. North Forsyth Competition Cheerleading Team State Champion, pretty special group. They had back-to-back state championships. And Coach Wood and Coach Abby Smith, and then Coach Reed Jackson, and Coach Reed Jackson's father helped me get into coaching high school football, ironically enough. 2024 Denmark High School Cross Country State Champions. Then from an individual state champion standpoint, we have one act play state champions and also the literary state champions in dramatic interpretation, which is a Christian Rapay and Gavin Harlot. I believe it's Harlot. From Forsyth Central, we have GHSA 7A State All-Around Gymnastics Competition Bars and Floor. Katie Andrews, who's also a 2024 national qualifier. 2024 GHSA Gymnastics State Champion Logan, forgive me here, Otesa, balance beam. 2025 GHSA Jackson Moffitt State Champion, second straight state champion in 170-pound class for wrestling, 36-2 record with 25 pins, East Forsyth High School. 2025 wrestling, Artemis Eaton, girls state champion wrestler from North Forsyth High School. 2025 East Forsyth state champion in diving, Emmanuel Pitts, All-American consideration diver as well. 2025 North Forsyth, Owen Cooper in the 50 and 100 meter freestyle state champion in swimming. I would like to thank all of you that are here. We appreciate what you do in representing our county and continue to do great things and enjoy your spring break. We'll be down here after. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We yield the well.
Are they winning more? Hey, you can never win too much, can't you? Can you? Hey, congratulations. What a great storyline. Administrators and students, thank you for what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing. Representative Beckles and others, I think she has friends coming with her. Representative Beckles, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I promise I'm not going to be as long as my colleague, but I do have 6 resolutions. I'd like to recognize the Norcross Historic Business Association for their contributions to the city of Norcross. If you would please stand. There are two nonprofits that have been supporting the city of Norcross for several years, and I'd like to recommend that this House considers giving the Good Samaritan Health Centers of Gwinnett a warm welcome. Thank you. Lastly, from my end, the Norcross Co-op Ministries, they have been instrumental to residents of the city of Norcross over the past several years. He made me do it. Recognizing the National Vitiligo Foundation, this group is instrumental in establishing online and offline communities offering vital resources to individuals with vitiligo. Thank you.
And we wanted to recognize Beyond the Ribbon. It's a nonprofit group supporting cancer patients and their families since October of 2017, supporting children and rent, utilities. And I wanted to recognize Bobby Meneg up there, and thank you so much for all your work.
And finally, we have Joy Monroe, Single Parent Alliance. Thank you so much for visiting with us today. If you could please come down to the anteroom for pictures. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We yield the well.
We have one more.
City of Norcross and all the nonprofits, thank you for what you're doing. You're doing great work. We appreciate it. I'm sure the people there do that. If you'll come down to the third floor and come to that anteroom, they'll have some photos with you. So thanks for being here with us. Thank you, members. Representative Gabe Okoye, Representative Okoye, recognized for Morning Order and Friends. He's bringing Representative Adenia with him. And more friends. Representative Okoye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen,
That's right.
I rise to recognize a dear friend of mine, and Shegun. He is an internationally renowned plastic surgeon. So you might need to have his number when I'm done. Just kidding. But he is the president of the Georgia Society of Plastic Surgeons, the CEO of Georgia Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, the president of Georgia Plastic Foundation, and the president of AMPA Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Stanley Okoro, please stand to be recognized. Right there. They call him the bow tie doctor. The bow tie doctor. Please come on down to the anteroom on the third floor for pictures.
He also has served us in our Navy, a proud surgeon in the Navy, saving many lives. And also, he's an author. He wrote the book, Brazilian Butt Lift. Please give him a round of applause. Brazilian Butt Lift.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, members. Thank you for your service. Thank you for caring about your neighbor. Representative Adenia, you are recognized for a morning order.
And friends.
And friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I recognize the Georgia Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. Could they please rise? They're committed to the advancement of economic and cultural advancement of Haitian American community in Georgia. They established Heritage, a visionary program designed to train, recognize businesses in Georgia, and provide scholarships for high school grads of Haitian descent. This organization has been very active in our community, and they celebrate one of the most famous events that they host, the Haitian Flag Day, and they'll be hosting that in the city of Forest Park on May 18th, 2025. Let's recognize and please welcome them to our house, the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. Please meet us downstairs in the anteroom. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Representative Bazemore and friends are recognized for a morning order.
Okay. I thought I had more friends, but...
Well, that's a strong one there right by you. She's strong. So you're doing good.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You want me to come stand with you?
Yes, please. So, I stand today to acknowledge, along with some of the other South Metro women, our South Metro men. Today, we are honoring them because they empower 5,000 community members with a focus on 500 black men to take control of their health and wellness through comprehensive screening, education, and resources, while fostering a culture of prevention, early detection, and community support. Their vision is to save lives, empowers families, foster community engagement, promotes health equity, and inspires positive change. They will be downstairs at 11 o'clock in room 216, and please go visit and have a chat. We all need to concentrate on our health, especially you men that don't like to go to the doctor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair Lady Hagan, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have the honor today to recognize a young lady that lives in the district I represent for some incredible service and leadership that she showed. Rylan Rogers is a dedicated citizen of Wheeler County, a standout student at Vidalia Heritage Academy, and a true example of servant leadership. Immediately following Hurricane Helene, she was active in disaster relief efforts, including organizing food and supply distribution points, creating and managing social media to keep her fellow residents informed, and supporting displaced families. Rylan went above and beyond to help those in need and showed true compassionate leadership. I asked my colleagues here to join me in recognizing Rylan because they saw her in action when they generously delivered much needed food and supplies to her hometown in the week following the hurricane. Rylan is joined in the gallery, if y'all would please stand. Rylan is joined in the gallery by her parents, Eve and Rusty Rogers, and I hope y'all will join me in celebrating this truly amazing young woman in the work that she's already done to show compassionate leadership, and I look forward, Rylan, to seeing everything you're going to do in the future for your community and for our great state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Riley, I'm glad you came here today so we could tell you thank you for all you've been doing and what the future is for you. We appreciate you, and we thank you for caring about your neighbor. It's good to have your parents is with you as well. Looks like they instill some great values in you. Thank you all for being here. Leader Illustration, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the members of the Georgia Association of College Republicans please stand? So we're here today I'm here today to recognize the great work that the GACR does with their chairman, Emmanuel Hernandez, and the officers and members from all across the state. GACR provides leadership at campuses throughout our state that allows students to engage in political involvement in campaigns and action and speaking out on their campuses. So thank you all for being here, and members, if you're willing, please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding students.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thank you for young leaders. That's what it takes to keep this thing going, so we appreciate your involvement and engagement, and thank you for being here with us today. Representative Lim, I see Marvin Lim. How about Representative Derek Jackson? We just discovered a great efficiency we had in morning orders this morning. So, members, that concludes our morning orders. Members, we'll move on to our rules calendar. We're going to take up and agree as our first order of business this morning. I'm going to recognize Representative Lehman Franklin for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move to agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 428.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 428?
House Bill 428 by Representative Franklin and the 160th to be titled Act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to general provisions regarding health, so as to codify the right to in vitro fertilization for individuals.
Representative Franklin is recognized to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I think fundamentally there's been very minor changes to this bill, but I wanted to go over it with you. There's been two slight changes, and basically it's just the change the words or legalese on it. The first one is moving from embryos to embryo to embryos, which I'm told legally doesn't have any effect, but that it does just clear up some of the language there. The next is on line 26, where we've taken out the right to, and instead replaced it to not to prohibit or prevent an individual from obtaining vitro fertilization. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I'll take any questions if needed.
Gentlemen, will yield for a question. Representative Park Cannon to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
I do.
Can you explain why we have to keep writing the word female in this bill when we're discussing genitalia?
I don't know if I can explain that or not. That's just the way it was written. And but there's a male and a female, and the female has the ovaries, so I guess that's why let's put that in there.
A further inquiry.
Do you need to stand for a question?
Must I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So would you agree that it's redundant?
I don't think it's redundant. I think it needs to be put in there. It's my bill. I'll put it in there.
The gentleman has no further questions.
Okay, with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 428, all those in favor will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the gentleman's motion, the yeas are 160, the nays are 0. The House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 428. Congratulations to the Franklins and to this House. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 180?
Senate Bill 180 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 4, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to high-demand apprenticeship program so as to provide opportunities for apprenticeship sponsors to enter into apprenticeship program contracts with the State Board of the Technical College System of Georgia. This bill having referred to the Committee on Higher Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Matt Dubnik is recognized to speak to the bill. Representative Dubnik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the High Demand Apprenticeship Program was initially created by Senate Bill 379 3 years ago, and the purpose was to incentivize apprenticeship sponsors to establish new or grow existing apprenticeship programs in Georgia. Last year, under Chairman Hickman's leadership, the program was amended to make some improvements. Currently, only businesses are allowed to apply for this. We're simply adding apprenticeship sponsors to this because given the demand, like many of our industries, including construction, have seen in their growth around the state, we just want to support more apprenticeship spots. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill.
Gentleman has a question. You yield for a question?
Yes, sir.
Minority Leader Hughley, recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
Will this allow for unions to take on these apprenticeship programs? That's something that we've been asked about in the past. Will this do that?
So we're looking for trade associations and things of that, and organizations of that nature. When you start to think about some of the contracting associations that are out there, yes, we absolutely want to include them and empower them with the ability to foster apprentices.
Gentleman, yield for another question?
Yes, sir. One more.
Representative Gullett, down the center aisle, is recognized for a question.
Gentleman yield?
Yes.
Isn't it true that this will enhance the effectiveness and responsiveness of the apprenticeship program and meet the evolving needs of Georgia's citizens?
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Mr. Speaker, with that, I'll ask for this body's favorable consideration. I'll yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The gentleman's yielded the well. Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 180, the yeas are 158, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 245.
Senate Bill 245 by Senator Hodges III and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 1973 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to actions by grandparents or other family members for visitation rights or intervention. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Townsend is recognized to speak to the bill. Representative Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the Grandparents bill. I appreciate Judiciary working hard on this. It is a substitute to the original bill. This basically will allow grandparents who already have visitation rights for the grandchildren to ask for a revision at the maximum of once every 2 years. This is based on whether there was incarceration, a death of one of the parents, or a disability, basically incapacitation. So that's the gist of the bill. It was revised. I appreciate the hard work of Judiciary looking into this, and this is basically the bill, and I will yield to any questions, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Jones to your left. Representative Nisa Jones has a question. Ladies recognized.
Okay.
Thank you, Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that this bill provides grandparents with a legal avenue to seek visitation or modify existing visitation orders, especially under challenging family circumstances like death, incapacity, or an incarcerated parent, and that it further clears it further requires grandparents to present clear and convincing evidence that visitation is in the child's best interest?
Yes, from what I can tell, yes, that's actually correct.
She's to your left. I'm sorry, a little bit to the back. My bad.
I'm right here.
Thank you. I'm sorry. There you are.
I want to thank you for this much-needed bill because it will immediately impact a situation that my mother is having right now with seeing the children of my late sister who now resides with their father's mother.
Thank you. I appreciate your support and appreciate that insight as well.
Representative Glaze is recognized for a question. Representative Glaze.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Now, there would be a question to your left, sir.
Is it not true that I lost my son 5 years ago at 41, and he left a daughter at 12 years old? And this bill will continue to help us as her grandparents to continue to support her as she continues to grow. Thank you so much for bringing this bill.
Thank you, Representative. I'm sorry for your loss.
The gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted. All members now voted if so. Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 245, the yeas are 160, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 44?
Senate Bill 44 by Senator Watson, the 11th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 22-165, the official code of Georgia, annotated, relating to equalization grants, annual calculations, and allocation. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Chaz Cannon is recognized to present the bill. Representative Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 44. My apologies. We put a lot of work in this bill over the last 2 years. It passed this House nearly unanimously last year. It got through committee this year unanimously. It passed the Senate unanimously. As a quick refresher, what the bill does is simply lower the threshold for equalization eligibility from 14 down to 10 mills. It doesn't change the formula for equalization. It doesn't change the formula for QBE. It doesn't change the local 5 mil share. It would allow, but not require, very permissive, it would allow, not require, a local system that receives equalization to roll back their millage rate over time to a new minimum threshold of 10, if they so choose to do so. But this is also a new provision we added in this year after working with the pro tem. The bill includes a penalty for those school systems who sometime in the future might roll back their millage under the new proposed threshold of 10. So there is no penalty in the code today. So if the school system goes below 10, they get a 25% penalty on their equalization. That's a pretty big stick. So that's basically the bill. Appreciate the help of the education chairman, pro tem, and I'll take any questions, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman has a couple of questions. Chairman Corbett, to your right, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield to my friend.
You mentioned we passed this bill last year in this House. Is that correct?
That's correct. Man, gentleman knows what he speaks.
It's a great bill. It's not further proof that the Senate has trouble coming up with individual ideals on their own.
That is correct.
Thank you for the bill.
Thank you.
Easy on the Senate. We got a couple bills over there we need passing right now. We'll talk about them in private. Just saying. Representative Irwin is recognized for a bill to you, for a question to your right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And does the gentleman yield?
I yield to my seatmate.
Does this bill continue to allow Board of Educations to continue to set appropriate rates in a time when our taxes, property taxes, are increasing?
It does.
Thank you for this bill.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Speaker, I yield the will.
Gentleman's yielded the will. Representative Martin would like to let us know about his opposition to the bill. Chairman Martin. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, no one ever opposes the opportunity for people to pay less for on their tax bill. I stand here today, each and every one of us represent our own area and our own constituency, 180 counties, over 400 cities, and I respect the representative for his opinion, and I'll respect everybody that votes for this bill. I want to tell you why I have pause with the bill. The QBE formula, even for somebody that did math pretty well in high school, is a far pale. It's very complicated, and it stands on many pillars for its calculation. And what I stand before you today and would offer is, this is one of the pillars on which it stands. I stand today and tell you that I think we need to look at the QBE formula in total, in overall, and I fear that if we allow some counties to go for their maintenance of effort from 14 down to 10 mills, when we start having that discussion about QBE, counties with larger populations such as my county that has a over 17 mil
rate and contributes to the QBE formula may be in a position that they would have to contribute more. So I want us to work together as a state. I'm fortunate enough to serve at the Speaker's pleasure and with my members in this body in post-secondary education to work with TCSG and the university system, and we work hand in glove with our K-12 system. So it's not in opposition to people paying lower taxes that I stand today, but instead to work us toward a review and a reworking of a very complicated QBE formula that stands on multiple pillars rather than to just adjust one, which when that time comes to adjust that in the future may cause a bit of inequity relative to the tax base and the tax contributions of all of our Georgians. So with that, I just wanted to explain my pause with the bill, and again, I'll respect each and every member of this body, as I always have, for voting your conscience in your district. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He's yielded the well. You have an important question. I'll see if I can get him back. Okay. Gentlemen, yielded the well. I always respect your insight and opinion, Mr. Chairman. That concludes our comments on SB 44. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 44, the yeas are 138, the nays are 23. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 147?
Senate Bill 147 by Senator read to the 33rd and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 3, Chapter 5 of Title 42 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to conditions of detention generally relative to correctional institutions of states and counties. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chairman Werkheiser is recognized to present Senate Bill 147. Chairman Werkheiser.
Thank you, Speaker. This is an effort that we worked on last year, and it's a continuation of that. And it's to help our inmates who are exiting the system after completing their sentence and having paid their debt to society. The Department of Corrections, in conjunction with the Department of Driver Services, is going to provide a list of items to help them for future employment. One would be a state-issued ID or driver's license, any program or treatment certificates, any vocational training records, work records, certified copy of a birth certificate, Social Security card, a resume showing trades, and then documentation of practice job interviews, and then any notification that he or she would be eligible for any occupational license certificates. And then there's some reasonable exceptions for, and that's the bill. And I would stand for any questions.
The gentleman has a question. If you'll yield, Representative Fry to your left, down front, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Absolutely.
Isn't it true that I really appreciate you bringing this bill to us, that I'm involved in a similar program that I started at the Clark County Jail, where we take ladies that I have taught construction to on how to build houses and try to get them jobs in the construction field. And this is something that I've been looking at for a very long time, and I really do appreciate the state stepping in and making sure that we can get our hard-to-hire individuals back to work. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. In an environment where employers are looking, I really appreciate your efforts and passion, and I appreciate your support. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the will and ask for your favorable consideration.
The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 147, the yeas are 163, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chairman Petrie is recognized for a motion. Chairman Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we accept the Senate substitute House Bill 584. This measure, as you recall, is...
We'll let you explain it in just a minute. We're going to have the clerk to read the caption first.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill number 584 by Representative Petrie of the 166 and others being titled an act to amend titles 26, 31, 37 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to food, drugs, and cosmetics, health, and mental health.
Chairman Petrie is recognized to explain the Senate substitute.
All right, Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, so this is the Senate substitute HB 584. This measure was brought by, this is a department bill by two departments, Department of Community Health, Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. We're moving some regulated facilities that are routinely under DBHDD from regulation by DCH over to DBHDD. That would include facilities like community living arrangements for individuals with intellectual disabilities, and as you'll see in the bill, kind of itemized also facilities that deal with substance abuse and so forth. The changes that were made in the Senate are very simple. They are all in Section 3. We caught this after it left the House. The departments realized that we had not moved some mandatory reporting provisions from DCH to DBHDD as well. That's very simply what this does. It ensures that abuse, exploitation, and neglect are moved, and those reporting requirements, which are mandatory, are moved from DCH to DBHDD since they will be dealing with these facilities. Mr. Speaker, those are all the meaningful changes. Glad to answer any questions.
The gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Speaker.
On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 584, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the gentleman's motion The yeas are 163, the nays are 0, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 584. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 7979?
Senate Bill 79 by Senator Goodman and the 8th and others to be titled an act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to crimes and offenses so as to revise the threshold amounts of fentanyl and related substances necessary to constitute the offenses of possessing, selling, distributing, and manufacturing. This bill I refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative James Burchett is recognized to present Senate Bill 79. Representative Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I rise today to give you my full support and ask for your full support of Senate Bill 79. If you recall, this body last session passed unanimously Senate Bill 465, which is Austin's law. And if you recall the story about Austin, Austin was yet another victim that fell to this deadly drug of fentanyl. Today we have with us in the chamber Austin's parents who have become zealous advocates on behalf of the life of Austin so that none of our kids or our grandkids or any of us in here can fall victim to this very terrible and deadly drug and fentanyl. And so thank you for being here again. The Walters, I very much appreciate you both. I can't tell you how much I feel for you, and you guys just advocating on behalf of your son. That's what many of us in this chamber would do if we were in the same position. So thank you very much for your advocacy. What Senate Bill 79 does is it strengthens the trafficking penalties for fentanyl. Currently, you're going to need to get a trafficking charge. You're going to need to have 4 grams of fentanyl. And I've got for you here an approved prop by the Speaker. 4 grams, just to show you how much 4 grams is. And if this was fentanyl, folks, this is not fentanyl, by the way. I put it on the leader, Madam Leader's desk, and she said, "Whoa, I don't want anything to." This is not fentanyl, but this amount right here would kill everybody in this chamber, and in that chamber, everybody in the hall. About 2,000 Georgians could die with this amount of fentanyl right here. That tells you how strong this drug is. This drug, has a medicinal value, but the problem is that it is being illegally imported, and it is being utilized by our youth and by people all over the state of Georgia and all over the country. And we have a silent epidemic here. And what we're trying to do is persuade folks not to traffic in this deadly drug. Earlier this week in Sandy Springs, there was the largest bust, or a very large bust in our state's history. I think it was 21 grams is what they found, and that's enough to kill, out of our districts, which we represent roughly 60,000 folks, it would kill 40 whole districts in this chamber, all the people in the district. And so that is a testament to how big of a problem we have. Right here in Sandy Springs, you have such a large bust. We know that it's coming in, folks. And to the specifics of the bill, currently it is a crime already to have to traffic in 4 grams or more. What we have done is increase the penalty as the weight is increased. So the more weight you have, the penalty is much more increased. 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, and they're mandatory minimums. And I know know that my colleagues share concern with mandatory minimums that I have, but this is aimed at trying to curb or curtail a very serious problem in our state. There is a provision within this bill that allows for a departure from the mandatory minimums. There are some elements that need to be met. I spoke with one of my colleagues about those elements, and they can depart from those mandatory minimums. But I ask you and I plead with you, please continue to stand together on this issue. I think this is it's not a partisan issue. I think this is just a problem that you, me, for our kids and our grandkids are. We need to take a strong stand against this deadly drug. And Mr. Speaker, with that, I will yield for questions.
Gentleman has a couple of questions. If you'll yield.
I do.
Representative Panich is recognized to your left in the back.
Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, I do.
Thank you. Is it not true that after amendments and deliberation, that addicts will not be facing increased sentences for mere possession of a drug that they likely don't know contains fentanyl?
Very, very good point. Yes, ma'am. The lady knows of what she speaks. We have been trying, even in Austin's law, to assure that someone that is an innocent, I don't want to say innocent user, but someone that doesn't know that it is in the drug does not face these type of enhanced penalties. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Representative Gamble down the center aisle is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, I do.
Isn't it true that Senate Bill 79 addresses the reality of fentanyl being a scientific altering reality as we address the addiction epidemic in our state? And this bill strikes a bipartisan response that our working group on addiction recovery has been very interested in and active in, and the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse.
The gentleman knows of what she speaks.
Thank you.
Couple more questions.
I'll do one more, Mr. Speaker. The hour is late.
Representative Reeves to your right is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Speaker Burns. With the majority whip, yield for a question.
Yes, I do.
Is it not true that over 250,000 Americans have died from fentanyl since 2018, and that that's like 5 times the number of people who died in the Vietnam War?
It is. Thank you for the question. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield to Will. I think we have more speakers on the bill. I do not want to hold you up any longer than I need to, but this is a very important measure. I hope that I can count on your support for this measure. Thank you.
Gentleman's yielded the well. We have a couple of speakers signed up. Here's how we're going to handle this. We have one that's opposed. I'm going to give him up to 10 minutes, and I'm going to allow the two that are in favor of 5 minutes each to speak to the bill. Representative Holcomb is recognized to speak to the bill. Representative Scott Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll start by saying that I agree with everything that the whip said in terms of the problem. Fentanyl is a scourge on our country, and it has caused heartbreaking loss to countless families. And certainly my heart goes out to the family that's here today on this issue. But the reason why I oppose this bill is because of the mandatory minimums. We need to have a paradigm shift in sentencing, and we need to move away from mandatory minimums. This is not an issue of leniency versus excessive punishment. This is an issue of doing what works versus what does not work. And mandatory minimums do not work. Why? It's very simple. The first time that most criminal defendants learn what the mandatory minimums are when they're talking to their lawyer after they've been arrested. They don't deter the conduct on the front end, which is purportedly what we're trying to do. And this is not new. The first mandatory minimum for drugs in the United States was passed in 1914 by the U.S. Congress, and its purpose was to address, at that time, opium. Throughout our history, we've had a swinging of the pendulum where we've reduced sentences and then we've gone back to mandatory minimums, but we've looked at this over and over and over again, and the research is very, very clear, which is that mandatory minimum sentences do not deter crime. What does deter crime is the probability of getting caught. So that's where I would prefer that we focus our energy, and I would support this bill if we took out the mandatory minimums, because certainly I think that traffickers should be penalized, should be convicted, and should be sent to jail, but I disagree with the mandatory minimum portion of it. Of note, with respect to the system, our system right now is struggling. We have law enforcement agencies that are understaffed, underfunded. That goes for the law enforcement agencies themselves, the prosecutors, the judges, and our jails, and our prisons. Our prisons, we have put in millions of dollars, even approaching billions of dollars, to try to have enough resources to keep those safe. And with mandatory minimums, there is no discretion in terms of what can happen of having those sentences be adjusted. And one point that I'll note out with respect to, it is true that this bill provides some potential reduced sentencing, but I would highlight line 70 and 71, which talks about the criminal conduct did not result in a death or serious bodily injury to a person other than to a person who is a party to the crime. If we're dealing with fentanyl, we're almost always going to have deaths, which means that all of the exceptions that start at 113 practically aren't actually going to happen. So you're just looking at locking up people for a very, very long time. A reference was made to what we did last year in 2024, and that law is called Austin's Law. That crime that we implemented also to address this scourge is titled the Aggravated Involuntary Manslaughter for Fentanyl Overdose Death. That bill does not include mandatory minimums. So I would support what we're doing if we move away from having mandatory minimums, because they do not work, they are poor public policy, and we just need to really have this shift away from them. And then with that, in terms of prevention, on July 1st of 2022, the state legalized the ability to test drugs to find out whether or not fentanyl was in there. This took effect a couple of years ago, and there was a recent study performed by the University of Georgia to discern whether or not our pharmacists were aware that they could sell fentanyl testing strips so people could test and see if the drug existed to prevent accidental overdoses and consumption. And they found most pharmacists didn't know about this. Most pharmacists didn't offer it. And if we're going to really try to work on the system to prevent deaths, there are better ways to do it. So I'll close by saying, I agree with you on the objective, I disagree with you on the means, and I'm voting against it. Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well. The chair recognizes Representative Tran to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Esteemed members of this House and my fellow Georgians, I ask that we become united today to take our first step in battling the scourge of fentanyl. And we have to understand that fentanyl is not just simply a powdery substance brought illegally across our borders from other nations. Fentanyl is actually a legally prescribed prescription drug here in the U.S. It's known under many names: Actique, Durasic, Sublimaze, and Fentora. And one of the problems we have is, say, one of your elders passes away. What happens to all of their prescription? Do the kids get it accidentally, or do your own kids, because you've broken a leg, you've injured yourself, and you're dealing with pain? Are your children taking your drugs out of your cabinet to use it for themselves or to sell it? And so we have to recognize what fentanyl is in our community and start taking the steps to battle against it. Here in Georgia, the statistics are chilling. In 2023, fentanyl was involved in over 1,000 overdoses in our state, a 35 increase from the year before. Among teens, the numbers are even more alarming. Between 2022 and 2023, there was a 40% increase of fentanyl-related deaths among teens between the ages of 15 and 19. It's not just a national crisis, it's one within our community. I'll talk about my community, the city of Dunwoody. In the last 6 years, Dunwoody police officers have responded to over 156 overdose incidents. 35 of those resulted in death. The life-saving drug, Narcan, was administered by Dunwoody police over 79 times. And that's Dunwoody. We have rural cities who struggle to keep a constant supply of Narcan. Fentanyl hit the city of Dunwoody hard about a year ago. We had a death at Dunwoody High School due to an overdose. Mia Diguez. She was 17 and she tragically lost her life to fentanyl overdose due to the pressure of her peers, her friends, and we need to start to address this. And we need to follow the lead of the teenagers and students. One of the students at Dunwoody High, Maddie Cohen, has started to run a program to get Narcan in every classroom. Now, we've gotten Narcan into every high school, but we still, for the betterment of these children, need to get Narcan into every classroom. Over 20% of adults and 20% of teens suffer from mental health challenges, whether it's anxiety or depression. Access is easier. Understand this, it is easier to get a counterfeit bill or a gummy laced with fentanyl than it is to go get mental health services from a professional. This is where we are broken. It should not be easier for students and veterans to turn to criminals for counterfeit drugs that will ultimately kill them. Over 1.2 million Georgians remain uninsured. That's nearly 12% of our population. It is far easier for the most vulnerable in our rural communities to turn to the drug dealers that pass through their city than it is to find health care, find a hospital, find mental health services within their communities. This bill is the first step. We have many steps to take to make sure that we defeat this fentanyl crisis. When we take a look at our homeless population, 13% of them are veterans. Nearly 2/3 have a history with drug and alcohol abuse. And we're seeing with our veterans what's happening at the federal level. Their jobs are being cut. Services at the VA are being cut. This problem for our veterans are going to continue to grow. And so while I'm concerned about the mandatory minimums of this bill, we must take this head on because more and more veterans are going to have to turn to counterfeit pills to alleviate the pain that they have from the injuries they took in combat. So I urge you all to vote in favor of this bill, and thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield the well.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Chairman Tyler Paul Smith is recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know it's Friday and everybody's wanting to get home, but Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of Senate Bill 79. About 10 years ago, I was working as an aide here in this house, and at the same time, I was fortunate to actually also work during that same semester with the District Attorney's Office of the Tallapoosa Judicial Circuit. There was a case that the then DA Browning told me to go and look through first day on the job, and it was related to fentanyl. And the first thing I see when I open up this case file are autopsy photos of what we believe, according to my DA, who was ADA at the time I was assigned to, was the first fentanyl-related death of a child in the whole state of Georgia. Autopsy photos of that 8-month-old baby girl. I have not spoken about that to anyone other than my father, who's actually a Beirut Marine who's seen death firsthand. But I can tell you, those autopsy photos, until God either calls me home or I lose my mind down here before he does one, will be ever burned in my head. Generally, I would agree that mandatory minimums for certain crimes might not be the best solution. However, with this one, I thought about this in committee the other day, about that little baby girl. If I could convey to you the evil that was done to that little baby girl, crying all night, with some experience of that myself now, that little baby girl was given a fentanyl sucker so she'd stop crying. She never cried again. This substance has been killing children of all ages, people of all ages. That old saying about the graveyard, you can go out there and you can find people of all ages. I think this is hopefully a step in the right direction, so heaven forbid those that are the youngest above us will even have to worry about that. That person, that child that has no discernment, just being given something by a parent, as deranged as it was. I really want to thank the family. I want to thank Senator Goodman and Whitford Chet for y'all's hard work on this. I really do believe that with this step in this direction, the penalty is becoming more severe for trafficking this pure evil poison to our population. Hopefully we can finally get a hold on it. Mr. Speaker, it's tough to share those kind of stories, but I know some of you may be surprised that me and what I do for a living would be up here supporting it, but I am all for public safety. I'm all for not allowing this deadly poison to our citizens in this state or this country. This is a measure that I think on certain days of this session or any session that this House has ever been in, we'll look back on and we can be proud of it. We talk about saving lives and different bills saving lives. You want to put something on the table that saves lives. You want to pass something that saves lives. This bill right here, Senate Bill 79, accomplishes that. I believe that in the deepest part of my heart and the deepest part of my mind. With that, Mr. Speaker, I know I generally leave discussions to technical matters, but I felt like that story, for those of you that might be on the fence on this one, I just hope that you'll know where my heart is on this, and that it is my sincere belief, with this coming out of the committee, that I believe it'll accomplish the aims and the intent that it started out with. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the way and ask this body's favorable consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for sharing with us on your heartfelt experience and your belief. Majority Leader F. Stration is recognized to speak to Senate Bill 79. Leader F. Stration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's difficult for me to add more than the very heartfelt, impressive speeches that we've heard today in favor of SB 79, but I did want to just give a few thoughts, particularly with respect to the policy around mandatory minimums. So, as we've heard today, fentanyl is a unique type of controlled substance that has come on since, say, my time as an assistant district attorney. In 2013, when I left the DA's office, I was not familiar with fentanyl. I had not prosecuted an offense for that. And then with the statistics we've seen, this dangerous poison, as has been said, killing residents of our communities, our neighbors, friends, family members, the importance of taking strong action to address the danger to each of our communities has come into full view. And we've reflected that in action that we've taken here in this General Assembly. Now, trafficking offenses carry mandatory minimum sentences. They do. We have those in code. I've prosecuted those offenses where if you have a certain quantity, and for certain substances, it's the purity of the substance, trafficking is an available offense. And the public policy around that, I believe, is well-founded. I'll talk about that in a minute. But more broadly, we have mandatory minimum sentencing in all kinds of laws already. Just take murder. Murder in Georgia carries a mandatory life sentence. It does. It's in the code. I could go on and on, all down the line of different criminal offenses where trial courts have to impose a certain sentence because the General Assembly, often many years or many decades ago, made that policy decision. And it seems that only recently there has been more, and while I have tremendous respect for my colleague who spoke earlier, I think that it seems that there has been a real keying in on this issue, at least that I perceived recently. But that's inconsistent, I believe, with the history that we have in our state of taking action to deter criminal conduct that's dangerous to Georgians, and secondly, to put individuals who are hurting or killing citizens of our state in prison, whether or not it deters them. Now, let me break each of those down. First of all, sentencing as a deterrent. I believe that it is. I have found as a prosecutor previously that criminal organizations are very smart. They often know the sentence ranges that can be imposed by a trial court. They're strategic in where they operate. They're for-profit criminal enterprises. And when knowing that deaths result from the sale of your product, that's incredibly evil industry to be in. But that is the reality of certain criminal organizations, cartel organizations, organized crime, that is their effort. They will know what sentences are available in the respective states and how they contrast with federal law. This measure, in my view, does a tremendous amount to deter fentanyl operations from operating in our state. But even if you discount that argument, distancing dangerous sales of drugs, distancing the sellers or distributors of dangerous drugs in our state from the people of our state by sentencing them to the Department of Corrections is a way to protect more Georgians. In other words, criminals who are operating to peddle this poison, putting them in prison for the sentence ranges we're talking about here will protect the people of our state. And as we just heard from the chairman of the committee, some of the youngest Georgians who made no decision whatsoever to be around or exposed. I implore you to support Senate Bill 79. I view that fentanyl being an extraordinarily potent synthetic opioid with potency up to 100 times that of morphine. We're talking about a completely different classification level of potency here. And the need to pass Senate Bill 79 is clear. Georgia we can say here today with a strong vote on this, Georgia will not tolerate distribution of this dangerous drug, and that we're committed to providing law enforcement and the judiciary the necessary tools to impose sentences in court to see that through. Now, is there the possibility of a situation where a mandatory minimum would not be appropriate? Well, you know, Senate Bill 79 actually contemplates that. In the bill, it provides that if certain parameters are met, that the trial court would have authorization to not impose, to divert from the mandatory minimum. So this issue that has been raised, even if you hold it as your concern, ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that Senate Bill 79 is still worthy of your vote because it will allow for those exception situations to be taken into consideration by the prosecutor and the judge and for justice to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask for your favorable consideration, and Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Gentlemen, has yielded the well. We have no more speakers that want to make their points on SB 79. So we'll put it to a vote. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Rice rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that Senate Bill 79 reflects our commitment to combating the opioid crisis by ensuring our legal system can effectively address the unique dangers posed by fentanyl trafficking?
That's what I've been reading, and that's what I've just heard. The lady's inquiry is on point. For what purpose does Representative Hagan rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that last year a 25-year-old young man in my community was lost his life after being exposed to a deadly amount of fentanyl? And as the representative in this room for his family who was left to grieve him, I feel very strongly that these mandatory minimums will save lives by keeping the people who have no disregard for other humans' lives from practicing their particular form of evil.
Sure, the lady knows of her experience in her community and certainly believes of what she speaks. For what purpose does Representative Miller rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that decades of research have demonstrated that mandatory minimums and sentencing in particular does not in fact deter crime?
I'm sure the lady believes of what she speaks.
Further inquiry.
I'll take one more inquiry.
Would it not be a better exercise of our time here to honor these victims and our communities by doing things that will actually deter crime, as opposed to doing symbolic, performative gestures that will not stop the deaths that are occurring in our community? Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
I'll agree with the lady. We can do all we can in our communities to stop these this scourge and these deaths. I'll take one more inquiry from the gentleman who presented the bill. For what purpose does Representative Burchett rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true, Mr. Speaker, that we are aiming this legislation at those sophisticated parties and networks that are bringing in large amounts of fentanyl and not aiming it at those folks that are actually possessing and using those? Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
I'm sure the gentleman understands every bit of the bill, and I appreciate his insight. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 79, the yeas are 131, the nays are 31. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. For what purpose does Whip Burchett rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
Make a motion that we immediately transmit this to the Senate.
There is objection. The gentleman move.
The gentleman moves.
All right, we'll vote this one right now, whether it's immediately transmitted or not. All of those in favor of immediate transmittal will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the gentleman's motion for immediate transmittal, the yeas are 99, the nays are 62. Did I tell you to lock that machine? I did, because we have the vote up there. So this bill is now immediate transmittal is approved, and this bill will be immediately transmitted to the Senate. Thank you, members. We have a little more business to attend to, and I want to recognize a couple of people on the floor with us today. The parents, Mr. Gus and Miss Beth and Sister Meredith. And also I want to thank Senator Goodman for his steadfastness on passing this bill. And we appreciate y'all being here and appreciate the fight. We all continue to offer our condolences for your losses and thank you for your steadfastness. Keep working. We appreciate y'all. Chairman Leverett is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I move that the House disagree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 86. I believe that's the proper, that we disagree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 86. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 86?
House Bill 86 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4574 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to annual salaries of certain state officials and cost of living adjustments.
Chairman Leverett is recognized to explain his disagree.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 86 is part of the judicial pay reform legislation that this House has championed and that advanced out of this House some time ago this session. House Bill 86 is the bill that deals with statewide judicial pay. That is the pay of our statewide judges, Georgia Supreme Court, Georgia Court of Appeals, statewide business court, and the tax court. The bill was amended in the Senate. You may have seen a little something about the amendment in the news over the last 24 hours. And we are asking, or I am asking, that you disagree to that amendment. I think that is a discussion we as a body need to have at some point, but we shouldn't have it as an amendment to a bill in the last 2 or 3 days of session. I believe it needs to be thought through a little more, and it needs a little more study. I would like to pass our bill, my bill, House Bill 86, and let's deal with reforming judicial pay first before we move on to anything else. I just believe that's the good policy, and I would ask that you support us in that endeavor. And am glad to answer any questions you may have about this motion.
Gentleman, yield for a question.
Yes, sir.
Representative Alan Powell, to your right in the back, is recognized for a question.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yield, yes, sir.
To my good friend, is it not true that sometimes there's always consequences to legislation that we pass, whether we accept or dismiss?
Yes, that is decidedly true.
Further yield.
Yeah, I'll yield.
Is it maybe not possible by agreeing to the Senate and raising all of these constitutional officers' salary that we might have a positive effect that we can probably clear the Senate out of about 75% of their members who run for higher office? Is that not true?
Mr. Chairman, I still have bills over there, so I will not say nothing about that.
You have another question from
Yes.
Representative Billy Mitchell to your left is recognized for a question.
Mr. Chairman, if we...
I yield, yes, sir.
Will the chairman yield? Mr. Chairman, if I understand the original proposal, which would prevail if we disagree, this would lower the legislative salaries to $16,200 annually?
That's incorrect. That's existing code. That is not changing our salary. The House Bill 86 does not touch any salary except for, well, I would argue it doesn't even touch judicial salaries. It just changes the way they're treated in code from a numeric number to a cap. This will not change legislative pay in any way, shape, or form. As you recall, there was an effort last year to add that to the bill, and we rejected that. And I'm not proposing to do that again this year.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, would you accept a proposal to amend legislative salary to the median individual income in Georgia, which would be $32,000 a year?
I would accept that amendment for just me. No, I decline that amendment. We have not talked about legislative pay in this process. We've not discussed it in a committee on either side that I'm aware of. I do not believe that is, while I think it's good policy, I do not believe it's appropriate time to do that, and would ask that we not do that with House Bill 86, with all due respect to the gentleman.
Yeah. I would just suggest to you, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we're contemplating raising the salaries of every other elected official in the state. What is a more appropriate time?
No, we are not. The Senate contemplated that with this amendment.
I see.
I believe we in the House are contemplating taking that. I mean, well, I don't believe. The motion is to remove the Senate amendment so that we would only be addressing the issue of judicial pay with House Bill 86.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for your explanation. The gentleman yield.
I'll yield, yes, sir.
Representative Westbrook to your right is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. Could you just specifically speak to the pay for Superior Court judges in Georgia? Because we've got judges who are watching that issue closely, and the Council of Superior Court Judges has worked closely on that. So I would appreciate if you just quickly clarify for us how this amendment addresses, if it does at all, Superior Court judge pay.
My understanding, and thank you for the question, my understanding is the proposed amendment did not touch the issue of Superior Court pay at all. It simply dealt with pay of a number of statewide officials in the executive branch. House Bill 85, which is, I believe, being discussed on the floor of the Senate, if not right now, at least today, it's on their calendar, deals with Superior Court pay, and it imposes a consistent set of reforms so that Superior Court pay is also changed in the code to a cap based on a percentage of U.S. District Court pay, so that we sort of bring make judicial pay for all state-paid judges. These are judges who are state employees, sort of harmonized into one uniform system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And thank you so much for the question. I appreciate you. The
Gentleman, yield for one more question.
I will be glad to, Mr. Speaker.
Lydia Hughley is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification purposes, isn't it true that when this House votes yes to disagree, your bill is going to go back to the Senate in the way that we sent it over there?
That's precisely right, and that is the goal. And thank you, dear lady, for summarizing the goal here.
The gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would ask your favorable consideration of the motion, and I'll yield the well.
On the gentleman's motion that the House disagree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 86, is there objection? Hearing none, the House has disagreed to the Senate amendment to HB 86. For what purpose does Representative Leverett rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we immediately transmit House Bill 86 back to the Senate.
Is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. For what purpose does Representative Darlene Taylor rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that the rules be temporarily suspended for a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to a committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Resolution by Representative Taylor, the 173rd, and others, a resolution creating the House Study Committee on evaluating funding for public health.
On the lady's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Public and community health. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions?
Honoring the life and memory of Reverend Dr. Robert C. White, Jr. Recognizing and commending Trooper First Class Mapes. Recognizing and commending Lynn Riley on the occasion of her retirement. Commending and congratulating James L. Davis. Recognizing and commending Dr. Ernest Afori Sarpong. Commending the Building Owners and Managers Association of Georgia and recognizing February 4, 2025 as Building Owner and Managers Association Day at the State Capitol. Recognizing and commending Pilar King on winning the GHSA Class 4A State Swimming and Diving Championships. Recognizing the Charles R. Drew Public Charter School Varsity Boys Golf Team for winning the State Golfing Championship. Commending Hazel Marie Gonzalez. Commending the Morehouse School of Medicine Physician Assistant Program. Recognizing, commending the Southwest High School Patriots Boys basketball team for their outstanding 2024-2025 season and inspiring run to the GHSA Class A Division I State Championship. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there objection to adopting the privilege resolution? Hearing none, the resolutions are adopted. That completes our rules calendar for today. We do have some afternoon orders before we complete our work. We'll begin with Representative Roman. Members, as several of you, I'm going to give, if you can do it in about 3 minutes, that would be appreciated. Representative Roman, wait to hold if the lady will suspend just for a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I am ecstatic to share that we are almost Ramadan. Ramadan ends this week, so Muslims will be celebrating either Sunday or Monday, depending on the lunar calendar. So this is like the equivalent of Christmas for us. So if it's going to be on Monday, feel free to give me gifts or anything else. But seriously, your constituents will be celebrating either on Sunday or Monday. So if you've got any mosques or Muslim constituents that you know of, please do reach out to them. And to my Muslim community, Ramadan Mubarak, and eventually Eid Mubarak. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Representative Ballard and the Houston County delegation. Representative Ballard, Houston County. I think they may be in Houston County. No, there they come.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
there's some more of them. Wait a minute, you're getting more all the time. Oh, there they come. They all traveled afar. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are up here today to honor and commend Mrs. Jade Thomas. She is a Houston County teacher at Lakejoy Elementary, and she is one of the finalists for Teacher of the Year this year. And we are so excited for her, and we wish her the very best.
Good luck to her. Hope she pulls through there. Representative Sharper, give the gentleman your attention. He's got something that I find very meaningful he wants to talk to us about. Representative Dexter Sharper, give him your attention, please.
Thank you, Speaker. A lot of you guys have been asking me, and you're hearing about on social media as well as Amazon and other places about the books, the memoir that I came out with lately about a week ago. So it's true. And the first one is called From the Poorhouse to the State House. It's beating the odds, where someone like me came from the rough side of the tracks but continued to move on and push and be a part of the process. And, you know, I think Larry Hanson 25 years ago, when I was city council, mayor pro tem in Valdosta, you know, he encouraged me to just keep on going and that one day I could be a state representative. And it came through. And I mentioned a few people in the book. My publisher say, look, you got to cut out the acknowledgments. You got like 1,000 people. But, you know, Nikki Randall, if you're looking at this, when I came in, you know, as a freshman 13 years ago, you know, she kind of embraced me. Others did too, but I know she's not in the room. But if you're out there, I appreciate that. And, you know, we do have it available for you. Now, this other book, I wasn't going to say a word about, okay? Because a lot of you were here when my dad passed away in 2018. And a lot of you guys were here when my mom died in 2020. And some of you guys were here when I almost died. And y'all remember I was up at the area with oxygen on 24 hours a day. And a lot of you guys encouraged me. You know, you were there, you prayed for me. And about 96% of the people that got as bad as I did, they died. But each day, a lot of you guys encouraged me, you pushed me, you helped me sometime up the stairs, the doorkeepers, everybody. I kept pushing day in and day out. And this is the one called Breaking Free, Depression to Success. And I want to say this. Nobody knew it, but I was actually from the time my dad passed and my mom passed, and she was everything to me, and then me getting sick. I didn't know that I was depressed for 3 years, 10 months, and 17 days, and nobody else around me knew. Because I always chill, relax, and my businesses kind of run by themselves, so I didn't have to leave home. I didn't have to do a lot of things because everything was on automatic. But nobody knew. So I just want to encourage everybody. This tells my story. And if there's anybody looking at this or anybody in this room, if you're feeling some type of way, whether it's coming from passing from a loved one, because there's a thin line between grief and depression. So I'm going to encourage you to please talk to somebody. Also notice the people around you, because you never know what they're going through. Sometimes all they need is a listening ear. So, Speaker, I thank you so much. I thank everybody in this room. But one thing it is when you don't know that you're depressed, that's even worse sometimes. But I thank you guys, and I ask you for your support that some of the portions of these books will be helping, one for financial literacy for young people, and this one's going to be helping the movement and mental health awareness that we can be, it's okay not to be okay. So I thank y'all so much. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Sharper. We appreciate you, and you always have, caring about your neighbor. Thank you, sir. Members, I'm going to recognize Chairman Crow there's a situation that he needs to inform you on, and I know that you will give him your full and undivided attention, Chairman Crow, and you may ask them to stand at the appropriate time if you would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, I would appreciate it if y'all would stand, if you wouldn't mind, please. I learned earlier this morning that a member of our Georgia State Patrol family, Sergeant Royce Zah, out of the Marietta post, his 5-year-old daughter, Navy, is at the Arthur Blank Children's Hospital in ICU. She's been diagnosed with sepsis, and from what I understand, she's not doing very well at the moment. She had a seizure this morning, and they've done CT scans, and they are not looking very good. So she's undergoing some plasma exchange and other tests today, and I just wanted to come and, as a family, ask us to, in a moment, have a moment of silence for them, but to keep Navy and her family in our thoughts and prayers, especially over the weekend. They're going through a tough time right now, and I would ask that we continually pray for them and her health and her recovery. So if you'd join me in a moment of silence, I would appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, colleagues.
I think we witnessed yesterday how powerful prayer is with Chairman England. Representative Holly is recognized for an afternoon order. Representative Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for members who were able to join us yesterday at Black Men and Boys Day. Unfortunately, one of my locals, Andrea Mallard, was unable to come, but I wanted to highlight him for the good of stepping up. His young son, Aiden, was unfortunately with his mother in South Georgia when a tree during a storm came crashing through the house and it killed his mother. And Andrea was fortunately able to take his son, bring him home to Henry County, and to be able to raise him. And the son has adjusted well enough. He has been excelling in school, and we wanted to honor him yesterday because Andrea chose in that moment, knowing that Aiden's mother would never come back again, but brought him into his life by giving him his last name. So if you're watching at home, Andrea Mallard, Aiden Mallard, we thank you for reminding us that weeping may endure through the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. That completes our afternoon orders. We have one announcement. Maybe a couple of announcements. Representative Adenia is recognized for an announcement. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure all of us are famished by now and ready to go home, but the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce is hosting a lunch downstairs in room 230, so stop by there and grab some great food. See you there.
Room 230, great food. I bet you'll have some company. Chairman Gunther, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder, we have a House Judiciary meeting in 132 upon adjournment. Thank you.
Okay, members, as we plan for next week, this House will be in session on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't know what happens on Friday. There's something powerful, I hope. So, on Tuesday and Thursday, we have committee work days. So I encourage all members to be here and participate in those committee work days as we get ready for the final push. We also have pages here today. So if you have a page, I encourage you to come up front and let's thank our pages for their work and have a photo. We also have a member with a birthday over the weekend. Representative Matt Dubnik will be 21, I think, over the weekend. Matt Dubnik, he's already celebrating. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Monday, March 31st, 2025.
On the motion of the majority leader that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Monday, March 31st, 2025. All those in favor will say aye. I can count on you. All those opposed, no. It's getting closer, but the ayes clearly have it. This House stands adjourned. See y'all on Monday.